So, good afternoon to all the other attendees and also good morning, depending on where you are from. Today, as mentioned, greetings from Stuttgart and not from our studio in Wiesbaden. I have really the pleasure to share our thoughts of ITSM, its development, and how this is intersecting with ServiceNow. As Martin already mentioned, I'm Christopher Schütze and I'm with KuppingerCole since 2.5 years and responsible for the practice cybersecurity. Before we dive into the topic, just a short hint to one of our polls. You can take part in our survey in ITSM tools and win 1 out of 3 tickets for the KuppingerCole ITSM tools choice, which is something like an online-based training to finding the right ITSM tool for you. Really a cool thing. I participated in creating it and mainly Warwick Ash for it. So really cool content. Would be worth if you have the chance to win it. ITSM or IT service management might sound a little bit boring at the first phase, but honestly, it is not. It is definitely not. ITSM has a long history, and this success story started with the mainframe. They had ITSM capabilities developed to manage IT in centralized mainframe environments with models for IT planning, for support, for delivery, security and infrastructure, really to improve IT services. The next phase then was an evolution to a higher level of maturity with adding something like change management and configuration management towards distributed computing. ITSM includes today cloud-based services as well as on-premises for distributed systems and cloud-based services, ready for an increased remote and work-from-home support. So generally speaking, ITSM is today more focused on business and processes, not just the pure technology. It is integrated towards the whole enterprise and should not run in something like an isolated silo. So ITSM is the solution for everything. Or what exactly is ITSM? Well, it is to optimize the IT delivery with design, support, delivery, use and governance, and digital transformation for IT services. This is what pure ITSM is. So this sounds very interesting for those of you who are not familiar with modern ITSM. Wouldn't or couldn't it be great to use ITSM then as something like a central entry point for all IT related stuff within an organization? Something like a catalog for hiring a new employee, maintain his life cycle, have overall and integrated processes up to requesting his or her new computer after maybe 3 years in the company. And yes, this is what ITSM could be. But let us have a look at a more detailed example here, which makes the idea of a central entry point more clear. Imagine my previous example about looking for a new employee. Maybe you found one and now you have to onboard this new employee. So for instance, you have an overall workflow in your ITSM solution for exactly doing this. Your ITSM receives the data from the HR system with the entry date of a new employee, and this will trigger a workflow which does several things. In this picture, it will trigger the account creation and the initial entitlements will be requested too automatically. So the ITSM gets the information, new employee. A global workflow is started, which triggers another workflow in your IGA solution that requests the accounts, entitlements, and maybe also the initial password. After this workflow is finished, we come back to the global workflow of your ITSM and maybe continue with requesting hardware, adding specific requests and approval steps and all that things. To summarize, we have ITSM, a central entry point, which is taking care of the overall process, which is responsible for triggering sub-workflows in specific tools like the IGA. So we have at least 2 portals again. And what if this automated workflow is done manually? Then the user has again to decide where to go? No. An important thing is, and this is what we always advise to our customers, do not rebuild specific tools like IGA or whatever within the ITSM solution. Integrate them. And this is what Martin already mentioned in his introduction for today's event. Integrate them as seamless as possible. This means ITSM is the central entry point, but maybe forwards to your specific IGA self-service. The challenge here is to make this as smooth as possible for your users. Maybe same workflows, same look and feel, same colors, fonts, layout will help a lot. Maybe your users even don't realize that they are using 2 or more portals. But always, ITSM is your central entry point for IT services. Okay, now I mentioned it several times. ITSM, a central entry point. Sounds a little bit like ITSM is the solution for all of your problems within the organization. The control center between all your systems to have something like an overall workflow engine. Yes and no, it is something like the holy grail, but coming back to my previous example about hiring a new employee. We started our IGA integration example after the employee was hired. But we didn't talk about things like a manager has to approve a salary or some additional agreement. Those information must be aligned with, for instance, with the financial department and become part of those processes and workflows. Now you can argue, but this is an IT service. Yes. ITSM's core purpose is design, support, delivery, use and governance of IT services. Taking care of business processes and budgets within specific financial applications is none of ITSM's core purpose. So would this mean ITSM is not the central entry point, or is there something missing? So let's come back to the title of this keynote, Intersection of ITSM and ServiceNow, and explain an extension of ITSM, adding business processes and values to an ITSM solution. And this is what we call enterprise service management. Martin already mentioned this. And this is way more than just taking care of the delivery of IT services and being the control center between workflows. Enterprise service management is a bit more the holy grail as pure ITSM, depending on your perspective. As you can see on this slide, ITSM is only 1 out of 10 elements of an enterprise service management, because the evolution from the pure management of IT services that I mentioned when talking about the evolution of ITSM, enterprise service management is something like the next step in the evolution of ITSM. It extends IT service management with important capabilities for service management, with capabilities to support the business of an organization, with capabilities to improve the efficiency and the underlying processes. When I was talking about the new employee with enterprise service management, we have also financial management. We could use document tracking for signing or for archiving the contract. We could support with a service desk and use a global approval management workflow engine for the onboarding process for a new employee. Or for sure, we just could do accounting for enterprise services, take care of compliance and offer a change management. So it is a mixture of workflows and specific components or capabilities to support enterprise service delivery. And especially ServiceNow has a lot of additional capabilities exactly in this direction, which is more than ITSM, which is more than enterprise service management, and more in the direction of becoming the central entry point for everything. Now, KuppingerCole is an analyst company. We do a lot of advisory and improve digital processes and transformation together with our customers. As well, we are working together with vendors to support them in their strategy. So let's talk in general what we expect or what we see about ITSM trends within the next years. We mainly see 4 trends for ITSM where the market is developing to. The first one is not a big surprise. As we see in almost all enterprise applications, the trend is towards a cloud-based solution with a service offering. But still, many organizations have a traditional on-premise ITSM. Thinking about operational costs and migration will become more relevant here too, not only an ITSM topic. When I was talking about the employee hiring example, in the first step, I was mentioning an example of getting information from an HR system and trigger the main and the sub workflow. Also, this will become more relevant too, having end-to-end processes with a high level of automation. ITSM or enterprise service management will become the control center for many things here. And at thinking of services, there are a lot of manual or technical interfaces which needs a high level of collaboration and integration. Our stakeholders must be involved to define a comprehensive and a well-defined end-to-end process. Organizations must use and establish here really a high level of collaborative work while using and supporting an ITSM solution. And last but not least, and this is something Martin already spoiled and I also, enterprise service management itself. We as KuppingerCole see ITSM growing more and more, becoming an essential and central part of service management within an organization. And therefore, it will or already is in some places leaving the pure IT area and starts to support business processes, to support and improve internal processes. So to summarize it, we expect an increasing amount of integrations. So from pure IT systems towards many business applications, integrating business workflows company-wide. We will have an enterprise-wide approach when going towards enterprise service management, integrating or also extending with other business process automation applications too. And for sure, the high level of automation will also be supported with something like artificial intelligence, or let's call it also clever algorithms with support in predicting and preventing IT service interruptions, for instance. At all, the popularity of ITSM will rise and become more relevant within the next 4 to 5 years. This is what we expect. And already last slide. This leads us to our recommendations for starting or improving your ITSM journey. As always, based on our experience in advisory and research. The first one, think big and extend or use the capabilities of your ITSM solution to build something which includes a wider scope and also includes business processes. So something like the mentioned end-to-end employee onboarding process, extended for the whole life cycle. The second one, a central entry point for everything. You want to reset your password, you want to onboard a new cloud application, you want to have a global approval workflow, you want to request a new computer. At least your ITSM, your enterprise service management, is the entry point and forwards in a specific case to a specific other portal, maybe with the same look and feel if needed. And the third one, talk to your key users, your stakeholders. Know how processes in their area work, and they can tell you also their pain points, the challenges they have. If you help them to solve or to improve their process locally, they will love to support you in the journey to a central and global ITSM. And the last one, do not rebuild functionalities of specific tools. If you have a specific tool for risk management, for document management, and for IGA, there is no need to rebuild any functionality in your ITSM tool. You have to integrate it. You have to integrate it clever and make it easy to use for the users. For any customization you start to implement, you really lose a lot of benefits of a dedicated tool regarding to updates and interoperability. And with that, I would say thank you very much and handing back to Martin for some questions.